Good morning, everyone. Enjoying a meditation outside this morning. And thank you for meeting with me today. Let's begin by getting into the mindful body. That's our posture of strength and straightness, ease, comfort, alertness. The lower body is relaxed but supportive. The spine is strong, alert, stable. The shoulders are relaxed, not hunched up around the ears. The face is relaxed and open. A hint of a smile lifts the lips, the inside of the mouth, the cheeks, and the eyes, and feeling that smile stretch all the way up to the top of the face. Relaxing our faces and shoulders, inhaling deeply, and exhaling. We are present in this very moment, noticing the body, noticing the breath. Connecting to this very current moment without thoughts in the future and in the past. All of our thoughts are present with our bodies right now as we observe the posture, the spine, the face, relaxing all our body. Let's begin by listening for sounds within, stretching our mindful listening ears inward, and then we will move outward, all the while paying attention to the breath, ensuring we are breathing deeply and slowly. As we hear the different sounds we might make this Sunday morning, swallowing and gurgling, cracking and creaking, punctuating each of those observations with a very deep and relaxed breath. And now extending our listening faculty out of the body into our practice area. For me here outside, there's a lot going on. There's wind rustling the dry leaves. Soon there will possibly be the noise of dogs as they come over to this meditation and think, what's going on? I hear traffic and trains. And just extend my awareness further and further to all of those people within my circle of care, within my circle of loving kindness, friends and strangers, thousands of people within my listening faculty, thousands of people to whom I can share my loving kindness. Moving on from our self-care series this morning, I had a user, I guess a listener question about how can I keep my cool when it really matters in the heat of the moment? So someone provoked me and I responded not mindfully. How can I practice so that when I am provoked, my first response is to maybe take a deep breath or rein myself in rather than just getting engaged? And so that's basically going to take practice in non-stressful situations. And one place where we can practice is in meditation, where we can visualize conflict management, successful conflict management. From there, we quickly want to graduate. Let the train move by. We quickly want to graduate into training ourselves to be mindful in regular situations. And so I would suggest a good one would be when we're driving, basically. If you drive, this is an excellent opportunity to extend loving kindness to every driver around you and to be very careful about monitoring your responses when someone cuts you off or does something that you disagree with or would frustrate you. Now, you may give in to temptation or just reflex because the untrained mind and body are easily manipulated. So, giving into your reflex and fly off the handle. And then it's that disturbance that will alert you to the fact that it's time to be mindful. And so, I encourage us not to get derailed by our first loss of temper or something like that. Because that is often the reminder we needed if we had slipped into trance mode and we're just being manipulated by circumstances instead of enabling our intention to guide us. So there are many other situations where we interact with others, friends and family, that are not very hot situations where we can practice being mindful. And again, I encourage you to use the fact of having been triggered as the absolute alert you need to get back on board. So don't let the feelings of shame and guilt derail you from being 100% committed to the job. So back in our practice here today, let's visualize conflict management. It is all about training our brain to respond to a different reflex. And if you are flying off the handle all the time, basic anger management is going to help you out as well. And that's easy to find online. Usually it involves taking a few deep breaths before you speak. Often we are so reactive, we're not able to do that. We're not able to even just take one breath before we speak. So how can we get there? We will get there in meditation. And reconnecting with the mindful body and breath. And calling to mind a difficult situation we are having. The problem with people is that unless we get our way, we're not happy. And so we are going to practice feeling release, ease, comfort without getting our way in meditation. Calling to mind a circumstance, a situation, a person, an event where we have a pretty hot conflict. And as we inhale and exhale, committing to handling this responsibly and mindfully, rather than in trance mode where we are so easily manipulated very immaturely by circumstances and current events. We are the dog being wagged by the tail, and we are committed to doing something different, to having more power. As meditators and also as psychologically mature human beings, we understand that our control doesn't come from controlling the circumstances and controlling other people. It comes from controlling our response. It is the absolute basis and center of control. And visualizing a conflict arising, and that our first response is to take a deep, mindful breath, noticing the body, noticing the hands touching in your lap. Noticing the sense of control and power and ease we step immediately into as we take a deep breath rather than responding off the cuff. Visualizing we are on stormy waters with perfect control, perfect ease, perfect ability to control the boat, no matter the size of the wave, the bumps, the rocks, the trees in our path. We are not afraid. We are not going to lose control. We are not in danger. Our safety, our self-respect, the respect of others, none of that is threatened. Our survival is not threatened by stormy water. So just encouraging ourselves to come to any situation without the flight, fight, freeze response. When we fly off the handle and respond in a way that isn't responsible, we are giving into the fight response. But perhaps not all situations warrant that. Some situations may, but very few in our context. And we want to have or develop the maturity to know the difference and to practice it in our day-to-day lives. Let's visualize a thoughtful and mindful response. Perhaps it's, I'm not prepared to speak about this now. Let's set a time to do this when I've had more time to reflect. But thank you for bringing this to my attention. Another mindful response would be to observe the other's behavior and to be honest about your own struggle. I can see that this makes you quite angry, and I am also, and I don't want to respond in a way that escalates this. So I just need a few moments to get my thoughts or my breath together before we speak. We can also work with a response that connects to the sense of respect we hold for the other person by their sheer humanity. For example, I see that you're upset, and I do want to be respectful of you. And I would like you to be respectful of me also. So, how can we proceed in a way that aligns with this basic goal for this conversation? If either of us is not able to be respectful of the other right now, I suggest we come back to this at a time when we're able to. And as we continue to inhale and exhale, visualizing these stormy waters that pose no threat to us. Truly, there is no physical or existential threat to us in any stormy situation we're facing with another person. And just how incongruous it might feel to experience a sense of relaxation and ease and control in a physically dangerous situation. And as we inhale and exhale, reminding ourselves we want to choose which of the situations that we are responding to in a way which may not be as responsible or responsive as we want is actually physically dangerous and warrants the fight response. Do any of them. Can we identify in ourselves a lack of skill in handling basic human conflict? Is that a possibility as well? Do we have some things to learn about how to navigate being a mature adult? Very possibly. Very possibly. Let's sit together for a few more moments in silence. And as we wrap up today's practice, committing to getting to know and maturing this being inside so that we can handle basic conflict with other beings. We are committed to being the kind of mature human that will not fly off the handle for any provocation. That is not a sign of a psychologically and emotionally or spiritually mature person. And we are committing in this group to the highest and best we can be. So that is top of the ladder, right? That's the lonely journey, you know? I recall Wayne Dyer, one of a very important spiritual teacher, who mentioned accountability. It is not crowded on the extra mile. And that's what we're going for, is the extra mile. We are walking the extra mile. So we may not be in crowded company, and that has to be okay. That is okay. We can't expect to fix and change other people in order to stay on that extra mile. Let's take 3 breaths together in silence to wrap up our practice and committing to doing this over the week. I look forward to hearing about your adventures in developing psychological, emotional, and spiritual maturity over the week. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have an excellent week.